we're on the fourth parak, and we're on Mishnah 15. Rabbi Elazar ben Shamua says, Yehi kavod tamidecha chaviv alech keshalach. Let the kavod, the honor of your student, chaviv alech, it should be as beloved to you, as precious to you, keshalach, as your own. V'kavod chavercha kamor rabach, and the honor of your friend should be like your fear of your Rav. V'mor rabban kamor shemayim, and that the fear of your Rav should be like your fear of heaven. So it's like, it's an upgrade, right? I think it's with these guys, you got frequent learning points, right? And you get everyone gets bumped up one grade. So yehi kavod tamidcha chaviv alecha. So it's interesting that it has the about your student. It looks straight at kavod, right? It says that's if kavod, and at your friend it looks at kavod, right? But your teacher, it goes to fear, to awe. So why isn't what is it that your friend needs? Right? You're certainly not going to be afraid of your friend. You're certainly not going to be afraid of your student, right? So the question is, the key in a relationship of two people who are learning together is kavod, is respect, is honor. Right? We saw a Mishnah before that said that a shy person can't learn, an embarrassed person can't learn, and a hard, nitpicky, mean, kind of nasty, bitter person, a sharp person can't teach. Why? It says, have you ever sat in a class, and you'll sit in a class and the teacher will say something, the Rav will say something, whatever, and you don't quite get it, but you don't want to raise your hand and ask because you're embarrassed. You don't want other people to know that you don't get it, right? We were in a shir a couple of weeks ago. Meyer was here, and he was talking about connection to God, and he asked a question. And, people felt a connection to God, and no one wanted to raise their hands. Everyone was just like a little, no one wants to put themselves forward in public. There's a shyness or an embarrassedness. Most people would rather not know something than to have people know that they don't know it. Right? Because, I'm a superstar. And if you know I'm not a superstar, then you're not going to think so much of me. When I first became from in 1984, so there wasn't much in the way of shuls in the neighborhood. Right? Aish, we davened once in a while in the Rov's living room. Yik was here, Bat Jacob was here. But I didn't go to shul that much. And then after a little while, then you're embarrassed because, I don't know what to do. I've never been in a shul. I've never been what do I know? Right, so now I would rather not go, because if I go, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to stand up at the wrong time or not know which page we're on, and I'll be embarrassed. And part of me, it's like I fell into the trap. I was more embarrassed, I'd rather not know than have people not know that I don't know. So I thought, then Anshe Emes opened up, right? But I'm going to go. And there's a little shul around the corner. I'll sneak in, I'll sit in the back, no one will notice me, and I'll just sit and I'll pay attention and I'll watch where they go and I watch what they do and I'll figure it out. So I walk in and there's 9 guys. It is very hard to be anonymous when you're the 10th guy. Then they get to Torah reading. Anyone a Kohen? No. Wait, are you a Kohen? No. I'm a Levi. There's no Kohanim. I'm the Levi. So guess who gets an Aliyah? Right? Guess who gets an Aliyah every single week? Guess who they're going to notice whether I come back next week? Right? There's no way to be anonymous. There's no way to hide. You have to, but I could feel it. That it was the fear of being embarrassed. And you see it in your kids, right? Your kid doesn't want to get up and do something because he's afraid that people will, he won't do it right, and he'll be caught up for being an imposter, and he'll be embarrassed. And human beings have such a strong drive, and it comes from kavod. Is that I don't need you to look at me as king. But I want you to look at me as a respectable guy. You need people to look at you as if you're not a schnook. And it's shyness, it's that terror that I'm going to do the wrong thing, I'm going to look like a klutz, I'm going to look like a fool, and I'm going to disparage myself in your eyes, right? It says a person who's embarrassed easily, who can't get over that, will never learn. Because he'll never ask, and he'll never try, he'll never be the guy who volunteers, he'll never step forward, he'll never implement, he'll never reach, he's just stuck. And you can take a person who has tremendous potential and ruin them by not letting them open themselves up, right? So a person who is a teacher who's harsh, right? Who can take even a normal kid and damn, your kid asks you a question and you mock them. They're not going to ask questions anymore, right? They don't want to. They don't want to touch it. They don't want to expose themselves. If a kid opens himself up, and you slam it, right? I have big boys and little girls. I have to remind my big boys. It's like you can't pick on your little girls. They need to figure out who they are as people, and if you make them feel bad about themselves, right, you're gonna shape their lives into these little shells that they're not. You can't do that to a person. It says when I'm a teacher, so I think, what's my job? My job is to communicate to you ideas. My job is to communicate to you values. It's to pass over information. It says Rabbi Elazar ben Shmuel says that's not really totally true, or it is true. But he says, I need to open you up. Right? If I pass you information, and I pass you information in such a way that I humiliate you or damage you or crush you, so that you can't expand or open beyond that or grow beyond that, I've ruined you. I'm not a teacher. Right? It says, a teacher says, Yachi kavod tamidecha chaviv alecha keshalach. That as a teacher, I recognize that my kavod, my honor, my position is important to me. My kids have to look up to me. My kids have to think that I'm a scholar, a Talmid Chacham. Right? As much as I want to be respected and honored and seen as a person of significance, I have to recognize that that's really the fundamental core. That's the kernel of my relationship with my students. Right? It's not just teaching them algebra. It's teaching them in algebra in such a way that they are respected human beings and that they can feel strength in algebra. They can feel, right? They can feel strength in Torah. They can feel, right? That the kavod, the respect and honor of that kid has to be as precious to you as your own. Now, Rebbe, even more. See, now I want to be respected, right? I can't unless you see me as I have the authority to teach and hear that I have something to say. I'm just a guy, right? We saw the first mission that says, Moshe Kibbutz Torah Misina, Moshe Yeshua. We start with, where your ideas come from matter. The pathway that it gets to you matters, right? So you want your teacher to be a respectful person, a respectable person. So it says that same way that you recognize, right, that my Rav, right, I have a level of yira of my Rav. That my Rav has the ability to, he knows right, he knows wrong. That my Rav has the ability to give me tochacha, to give me musar, to, if he's really a Rav, what's a Rav? He's a person who's greater than you. He's a person you've accepted and given you authority to say, Booby, you're messing up. You're wasting your life. You should have some level of trepidation in your relationship with your Rav because you've given your Rav enough insight into you, right? He knows who you are and he's willing to look you in the eye and say, fix it, right? If your Rav won't look at you and say, fix it, it's not really a Rav because he's not going to drive you, he's not going to move you. So it says the same way that you want to get a grip on how much you should respect your student. It's with the respect that you want for yourself. You want a mnemonic device for understanding the respect that you give to your friend. Right? You and I are buddies, right? We can be friends. I can tease you, I can laugh with you, I can joke with you. But in this matter of, there's limits, right? That the humor can't be humor I use self-deprecating humor all the time. That's okay, I can pick on myself. But if I use you-deprecating humor, if my humor is always insulting and it's always belittling and it's always diminishing, what I'm really trying to do is to knock you down, to push you down. But the same way I recognize that my Rav has the power to guide me, so does my Chaver. Right? And the honor I show you should be the equivalent. It really should grow the same way that I have fear, really awe, right? A recognition of the power of what a Rav can do for me is the same way I should recognize what a friend can do for me. And I need you to do that, right? If my friends aren't going to, again, slap me around and keep me straight, laugh at my jokes once in a while, but be there to lean on. Right? I don't want wussy friends, right? I want real friends. I want friends who I can trust to be strong. I want friends who I can trust that when I have a problem, I can go to them. Who, when they have a problem, they can come to me. That if I'm messing up, they'll stop me and say, "What are you thinking?" Right? Or if I do things a little wrong, they'll slap me on the back and say, very, But you need that, right? There has to be a relationship of kavod that I'm not ever trying to diminish you. I'm not trying to bring you down. I want you to be strong, that your wins are my wins, right? Your value is my value. You're my chaver, right? You're my close personal companion. You're there to keep me straight, right? I'm invested in you. It says, and now because in the more rabbanon and a teacher, so how do you look at a teacher? It So as a teacher, you should look with the same kind of more, the awe that you look at Shemayim. Because your teacher, we said, where ideas come from matters. Your teachers are conduit to and from Shemayim. Right? That your Rav, I had a Rav who, at a certain level, was also a friend. Right? And I remember asking him, but we became such good friends. Steve Bars, you remember. Oh, you don't remember Steve? Okay. He's a stand-up comic. It's his hobby.
Okay.
But he and I were so close and so much joking. I had to stop. I talked to another Rav, and I had to stop, and we had to sit down and come to the conclusion that he wasn't going to be my Rav. He was going to be my friend. Because you couldn't, that the level of personal relationship that we were going to have, it's just one you really can't have with a Rav. Right? So, Rebbeim need friends too. It's like, we're going to be friends. But like with Rabbi Cohen, he's Rabbi Cohen. Rabbi Summers, Rabbi Summers. It's like, you shouldn't walk up to your Rav and call him Bob. Right? You shouldn't walk up to your Rav and give him an elbow in the ribs and tell him a joke. It's just not, right? Because there's a role. They're human beings, but they also play a role. And that role is they are the conduit from Moshe to you. They're the conduit from Hashem to you. That a Rav's job is not to be your best friend. Same with your son. With your kids. You're not there to be their friend. It's every once in a while I have to remind my kids I'm not their friend. When I am their friend. But I'm much more than that. That there's aspects that I hate to tell you, the relationship we're going to have is not a relationship you would want with a friend. Because you do not want your friends leaning on you. And every once in a while, it might be gentle and loving, but I've got to lean on you. You need a Rav who will lean on you. You need a Rav who's going to straighten you out. You need a Rav who will give you clarity. You need a Rav you can go and say, Rabbi, this is tearing me apart, what do I do? Right? Where do I go from here? You need to know that that's a guy who's got a path there. He's not your drinking buddy. He's not your friend. Right? He's not your pool, your baseball score guy. Right? He's a Rav. He's a guy who's got Chochmah. And he's got Yiras Hashem and Yiras Shemayim, and he'll slap you once and hug you twice and put you on the right path. That's our guy. All right, that's Mishnah 15.